My parents didn't want to give my children gifts for Christmas. If you help us more, then they will get gifts, they said. A week later, when I still sent money, My parents never gave anything freely. Love, praise, even basic kindness, all came with strings attached. So when they told me that my children's Christmas presents would depend on how much I helped them, I knew exactly what they meant. If you help us more, they will get presents, my mother had said, as if she were doing me a favor. Last year, I sent them $2,000 a month for 6 months. Not because they needed it, they had no debts. My father was still working part-time, and their house was paid off. But they had a way of making me feel like I owed them, like supporting them financially was just part of my role as their son. I never questioned it until this year when things got tight for my own family. We had some unexpected expenses, and I could only afford to send them $1,000 a month. I thought they'd understand. They didn't. A week after I stopped sending the extra money, my mother called. "What about Christmas presents?" she asked casually, but I knew this wasn't just small talk. "You're not buying them presents?" I asked, already preparing myself for the answer. "Well, Ethan, we have to be fair," she said in that condescending tone she always used when she thought she was being reasonable. "Last year you gave more, and this year, well, we just can't afford to be as generous. You understand, right?" By fair, she meant that my children would be punished if I sent them less money. But the real kicker? My sister, Olivia, sent them nothing. Not a dime. Yet her 4 children always got the royal treatment. I clenched my jaw. "Mom, are you seriously telling me that you're buying presents for Olivia's kids but not mine because I sent you a little less money this year?" She let out a sigh as if I was being difficult. "Ethan, it's nothing personal. It's just the way things worked out. Maybe if things get better next year." I hung up before I said something I couldn't take back. When I told my wife, Claire, she was stunned. "They wouldn't really do that to the kids," she said. "They'll come around. It's Christmas." I wasn't so sure. But we had already agreed to spend Christmas with them, and I didn't want to assume the worst. Maybe she was right. Maybe my parents were just bluffing to make a point. They weren't. When we got there, everything looked perfect. The house was warm, the smell of cinnamon and pine filled the air, and my parents greeted us with big smiles like nothing was wrong. My sister was already there, sipping coffee while her kids tore into presents. Shiny boxes and colorful toys piled up around them, each one labeled, "From Grandma and Grandpa." My parents stood nearby, watching proudly. Lily and Noah, my 2 children, ran to the tree, their little faces lighting up as they searched for their own presents. There were none. I felt something tighten in my chest. Claire shot me a look, her expression unreadable. My mom, suddenly avoiding eye contact, leaned in and whispered, "We weren't going to say anything in front of the kids, but you understand, right? Things are just different this year." I stared at her, barely able to process the words. "Are you serious?" I kept my voice low, but my hands clenched into fists. "You really didn't get them anything?" My dad shrugged and turned back to his coffee. "Ethan, let's not make a scene. It's Christmas." I looked at my kids standing there, confused. Lily tugged on my sleeve. "Daddy, where are our presents?" I swallowed hard. I couldn't let them see me angry, couldn't let them feel the weight of it. "They left them at home, honey," I said quietly. "It's okay. We'll have presents later." I barely got the words out before my son's lower lip quivered. Claire bent down and whispered something to them, trying to keep them calm. I turned back to my parents, my voice calm but firm. "We're leaving." My mom gasped. "Ethan, don't be ridiculous." But I was done. Claire and I got the kids in the car as fast as we could. My mom was still yelling after us, but I wasn't listening. My hands were gripping the steering wheel so tight they hurt. The kids in the back seat were too quiet, and that hurt the most. They were still processing what had just happened. Halfway down the road, my phone started ringing. It was my mom. I ignored it. She called again. Then Olivia. Then my dad. Claire exhaled sharply. They're not going to let this go. I pulled into a diner we used to go to when we were kids, one of those old-school places with red booths and a Christmas tree in the corner. As soon as we sat down, Claire forced a smile and turned to the kids. "All right, Christmas pancakes. Extra whipped cream?" Noah nodded, but Lily just stirred her hot chocolate. I was about to say something to cheer her up when my phone rang again. My dad. I finally picked it up. "What?" "You embarrassed your mom," he said. "Walking out like that? That was cruel." I let out a bitter laugh. "Cruel? You think I'm cruel? You just let my kids sit there and watch their cousins open presents, knowing you didn't get them anything. And I'm the bad guy." Dad sighed. "Ethan, it wasn't about the money dash." "Then what was it about?" I cut him off. "Because it sure as hell wasn't about love." Silence. Then, finally, "We didn't think they'd notice." I almost threw my phone. Claire must have noticed my expression, because she reached over and squeezed my hand. I took a deep breath and lowered my voice. "We're done here, Dad. Don't call me again." I hung up. A few hours later, after we had tried to salvage Christmas with pancakes, presents from us, and a movie night at home, there was a knock at the door. It was my mom. I opened it, arms crossed. "What are you doing here?" She looked uncomfortable, clutching a bag. "I brought presents. For the kids." I didn't move. "Oh, you have presents now? What changed?" She shifted awkwardly. "Your sister said you overreacted. But then I thought about it. And maybe we made a mistake." Claire appeared behind me, arms crossed. "You think?" My mom exhaled sharply, as if she wanted to argue but knew better. She held out the bag. I took it, opened it, and immediately felt my stomach sink. Inside were cheap, last-minute toys, things that had obviously been grabbed in a hurry from a gas station or drugstore shelf. A plastic doll. A small car. No wrapping paper. No thought. Lily looked over my shoulder. "Daddy, what is it?" I turned to her, my heart aching. "Nothing, sweetheart." Then I looked back at my mother. "Keep her." Her face fell. "Ethan Dash. You weren't sorry. You just didn't like the way it looked when we left." I shook my head. "All you care about is winning." Her lips pressed into a thin line. She wanted to argue, but she didn't. Instead, she just turned and left. I closed the door. Claire put an arm around me, and I let out a breath. I looked at my children, playing with the presents we had gotten them, laughing again, the pain slowly fading. This was our real family. And I wasn't going to let my parents ruin another holiday. I woke up the next morning with absolute clarity. I was done being manipulated. I sat at the kitchen table, my coffee growing cold as I scrolled through my phone, rereading the messages from my parents. My mom had sent a dozen texts overnight, ranging from fake concern to outright guilt. My dad had only sent one. "Let's not make any rash decisions." They thought I was bluffing. I wasn't. I dialed my mom's number. She picked up right away. "Ethan! I knew you'd come to your senses," she said, her voice way too cheerful, as if we hadn't just had a massive fight the day before. "Now, let's talk about this little misunderstanding." "There's nothing to talk about," I said. "I just wanted to let you know I'm not sending you any more money." Silence. Then laughter. She actually laughed. "Oh, Ethan, don't be silly. Of course you're still going to help us. That's what family does." I grabbed my coffee cup. "Funny. I thought family was about love and support. Not about punishing grandchildren for money." Her tone changed in an instant. "You're seriously still upset about this? You're overreacting." "No," I said. "I've been underreacting for years." She scoffed. "So this is your punishment? You're cutting us off over a few presents?" My dad suddenly got on the line. "Ethan, let's not get ahead of ourselves," he said in his usual fake calm tone that he always used when he was trying to manipulate me. "We're family. You wouldn't do this to your own parents." I didn't even hesitate. I would. And I just did. There was nothing for a moment. Then my mom snapped. After all we've done for you, this is how you repay us? I actually laughed. After everything you've done for me? Like what? Guilting me into giving you thousands of dollars while Olivia does nothing and still gets treated like royalty? That's different, my mother snapped. Yeah, I said. It really is. Then I hung up. At first they thought I was bluffing. A week passed. Then 2. No calls, no texts. They probably assumed I'd come crawling back, apologizing, offering money, just to make things right. But I didn't. That's when the messages started. At first, they were little jabs. We just never thought our own son would let us down. Then the guilt trips. I guess we'll have to start selling things to make ends meet. Which was a lie. They weren't struggling. They had retirement savings, my dad was still working part-time, and they had no real expenses. But they hated losing control. And when they realized I wouldn't back down, that's when things got ugly. One morning I woke up to almost 20 missed calls from my sister. Before I could even think about calling her back, my doorbell rang. I opened the door and there she was. Olivia, standing on my porch with her arms crossed, looking like she was about to tear me apart. You need to fix this, she said, pushing past me into the house. Olivia stormed into my house like she owned the place. She didn't even look at Claire, who was sitting on the couch with the kids, just turned straight to me with a scowl. You have to fix this, she snapped. I folded my arms. Fix what exactly? She rolled her eyes. Mom's a mess. Dad's pissed. They keep saying you abandoned them, and honestly, it's kind of messed up. They're old, Ethan. They need you. I scoffed. Mom is 56, not 86. She has more energy than I do. Olivia waved that off. Doesn't matter. They're still our parents. You know Mom's been feeling sick lately, right? That made me pause. Sick? She nodded, lowering her voice like she was sharing some tragic secret. Yeah. She's been having all these health issues. Stress, blood pressure, just a lot. And now with you cutting them off? It's making it worse. She's barely sleeping. She's been crying. Do you really want to be the reason something happens to her? That hit me harder than I expected. For a second, I actually felt guilty. But then I saw it. That little smirk she was trying to hide. She was lying. Or, at the very least, exaggerating the hell out of it. I exhaled, shaking my head. Wow. You almost had me there. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means I've seen this play before, I said. They're not getting their way, so now Mom is conveniently sick. And somehow, the only cure is my money? She crossed her arms. You really don't care if something happens to her? I clenched my jaw. No, Olivia, I do care. But what I don't care about is being manipulated. If Mom is really sick, she can go see a doctor. And guess what? She has insurance. You know, because I helped pay for it. Her face twisted in frustration. You're being impossible. No, I said. I'm just done playing this game. I opened the door. You can go now. She stared at me for a moment, like she couldn't believe I was serious. Then she scoffed, grabbed her purse, and stormed out. I shut the door, locked it, and turned to Claire. She was watching me with an approving look. That felt good, I admitted. She smiled. It looked good too. But deep down, I knew this wasn't over. If my parents were desperate enough to fake an illness, they'd try something even worse next. I knew my parents wouldn't give up easily. And I was right. A few days after Olivia's failed guilt trip, my mom called. I almost let it go to voicemail, but curiosity got the best of me. She didn't even say hello. Ethan, your father fell down the stairs. I blinked. What? She sniffled. He was going to get the mail, and he just lost his balance. It was awful. He's in so much pain. And I I don't know how we're going to manage if this keeps happening. I ran a hand down my face. Is he in the hospital? A pause. No, he didn't need the hospital. He's resting. But Ethan, this is exactly what I was talking about. We're getting older. We need support. We need you. I sighed, rubbing my temples. Mom. Dad is 60. He plays golf every weekend. He's fine. Her voice wavered. You don't believe me? I believe he might have tripped, I said. I don't believe that suddenly, right after I cut you off, he's too frail to function. She let out a shaky breath. I didn't want to say this, but I don't think we can keep the house. I almost laughed. You own it outright. But the bills, Ethan, she whined. The maintenance, the repairs, the taxes. Then sell it, I said flatly. Silence. Finally, she whispered, I can't believe you just said that. You mean you can't believe you didn't get what you wanted? I said. Her voice hardened. Fine. Be cruel. Be heartless. But don't expect us to be there for you when you need family. I smirked. Like how you were there for my kids on Christmas? Click. She hung up. For a while, it was peaceful. No calls. No texts. I actually started to feel free. Then one night, Claire nudged me while scrolling through Facebook. You might want to see this. My mom had made a post. It's devastating when your own child turns on you. After everything we've sacrificed, after all the love we've given, we're left abandoned. Growing old is terrifying when the people you raised decide you're no longer worth their time. I never thought I'd know this kind of heartbreak. Disappointed face. The comments were exactly what you'd expect. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. Some kids are just ungrateful. You deserve better. I scrolled, feeling my blood boil. Olivia had commented, too. I tried talking to him, Mom. He just doesn't care. I don't know who he is anymore. I let out a short, bitter laugh. They're really doing this. Claire rolled her eyes. Oh, they love playing the victims now that you won't play their game. I cracked my knuckles. All right. Let's have some fun. I typed out my own comment. Interesting. Didn't see this same energy when you ignored your grandkids on Christmas because I didn't send enough money. But sure, play the victim. Hope it gets you the sympathy cash you're actually looking for. I hit send. Within minutes, the post was deleted. For the first time in years, I felt free. No guilt, no obligation, no checking my phone every 5 minutes dreading another manipulative message from my parents. They had gone silent after their little Facebook stunt, probably hoping I'd crack and beg for forgiveness. I didn't. Instead, I did something for my family. Claire and I had been driving the same beat-up SUV for years. We kept putting off buying something new because there was always some other expense, unexpected bills, kids' activities, or, more often than not, sending money to my parents. But now, I could finally spend on us. So I bought a new car. Not just any car, a fully loaded, top-tier SUV with all the bells and whistles. Something safe for the kids, reliable, and honestly, something that made me feel good. Claire and I had worked hard, and for once, we were going to enjoy it. I posted a picture online without a second thought. Just a simple caption. Merry, late Christmas to us. Can't wait for new adventures. I didn't even think about my parents when I posted it. But they thought about me. It took less than an hour before my phone rang. My mother. I almost ignored it. Almost. Instead, I picked up, curious to hear what angle she'd try this time. Are you kidding me? She hissed, skipping right past pleasantries. A brand new car? And you're telling us you can't afford to help your own parents? I smirked. There it is. Mom, you don't need my help. You just don't like that I finally stopped letting you take advantage of me. Her voice sharpened. We gave you everything growing up. The least you can do is support us now that we're getting older. You're 56, I said flatly. You don't need support. You need boundaries. That really set her off. So you have money for luxury but not for your own parents? I couldn't help it, I laughed. That's rich. I'm selfish? You let my kids sit there on Christmas morning with nothing while their cousins opened gift after gift. Because I didn't send you enough money. You weaponized Christmas to punish children. And now you're mad that I finally chose my family over you? You've changed, she said, her voice suddenly quiet. But not in a genuine way. It was calculated, rehearsed. I don't even recognize you anymore. I leaned back in my chair. You mean I stopped being someone you could control? Yeah, I guess I did change. Silence. Then she pulled out her favorite trick, playing the victim. Well, if this is how you really feel about your family, I guess we have nothing left to say to each other. I smirked. Guess not. And then I hung up. I thought that was the end of it. I was sure of it. Until 3 days later, when Olivia called. Just thought you should know, she said, her voice dripping with passive aggression. Mom and Dad updated their will. I frowned. Okay? She let out a dramatic sigh. They removed you, Ethan. You and your kids. Everything's going to me now. I actually had to stifle a laugh. Olivia, I don't want anything from them. Silence. I could practically hear her confusion. You what? I chuckled. You think I care about their money? Keep it. Enjoy it. Have fun dealing with them when they actually do get old and start demanding your help. You're going to regret this, she snapped. Pretty sure I won't, I said and hung up. That was the last time I heard from any of them. No calls. No texts. No sudden emergencies or guilt trips. They thought they were punishing me by cutting me out. But in reality, they gave me exactly what I wanted.